Well, welcome once again to the Ahern video podcast. Each year I get calls and calls and calls about helping generate more sales, helping generate more training programs, helping increasing my marketing efforts, and it's an ongoing event. The way that you used to sell business 2 years ago should be totally different than the way you're going to sell business tomorrow. Accountability is a big issue with salespeople, but also how you utilize your expertise, how you reach the marketplace, how you accomplish specific goals and objectives in the shortest amount of time, how you establish goals and objectives, and how you make people accountable for results are all a big component of how you're going to increase your sales. The internet today is a very powerful tool, but even as I was advised, if you have a website doesn't generate traffic. Website has to be updated every 2 or 3 years. Ours hasn't been updated for about 4 or 5 years. So about 6 months ago, one of our designers came to us and says it's time to make the website more mobile friendly. It's time to make it more functional and easy to navigate. It's time to change some of the processes, and so the point I'm making is that in order to be successful, you have to embrace change. In order to increase your market presence, you need to embrace change. And if you've got a sales force, you need to hold them accountable. But when I say hold accountable, it doesn't mean beat them up. It simply means sit down with each individual salesperson. Find out what specific goals and objectives they have. Define what specific goals and objectives you want to have. And more importantly than that, define if that salesperson is really a salesperson. Today in trucking, I constantly hear all we have to sell is price. And I don't care what kind of a salesperson you are, if you don't have price, you can't sell. Well, I have a motto: stop, think, and listen. One of the problems salespeople have is they sell in one pattern. And they sell what they want that particular customer to hear. What they should be doing is opening up opportunities to hear what that customer has to say, so then you can become a problem solver. First of all, no, you don't have only price to sell today. There's no drivers. So if you honestly believe that you have to have the same rates that you had last year, or otherwise you're not going to be able to succeed, then you better go find another profession. At the same time, you have to have the tools as a salesperson to be able to work at maximum efficiency. Many times you've heard me talk about our software program. Many times you've heard me tell people that it's a costing tool. Many times you've heard me tell that you need to treat each truck and each driver as a profit center. And every time you dispatch that truck, you need to know if you make money. Well, fundamentally, if you're quoting rates and you're quoting fuel surcharges, it should be based on your own cost, not somebody else's cost, not Joe down the street. So the first thing you have to do is there has to be communication between operations and management, and they have to have a tool that's going to track their cost on every single dispatch. Now, you can spend hundreds of thousands of dollars getting a very sophisticated system, or you can purchase a very inexpensive software program like ours that's based on your own P&L. But the point I'm trying to make is you have to have a costing system that identifies your costs, so as your salesperson is going through his or her process, they know whether the round trip is going to be productive for the company. Many times owners don't set those goals and objectives up. The owners simply say, go out and create the highest revenue you can. And so maybe you have a great rate going into Dallas. But what happens when you come out of Dallas? If the round trip rate doesn't cover your overhead. Recently, we're doing an operational review, and I asked the person, what's your average fixed cost? $1.16. Well, how do you know it's $1.16? We know it's $1.16. We track all our costs. So we finish our operational assessment. Their fixed cost is $1.34. There's an 18 cents a mile difference. Think about that. So they didn't know their own cost. Now, they had all these fancy graphs and analytics, but they weren't actually tracking all of their cost. So the first thing I have to impart to you, if you want to create your sales, if you want your sales and marketing people to be more productive, the first thing you need to do is focus on your cost. And once you focus on your costs and you know what your costs are, then you need to establish accountability. And you need to set up reporting systems. You want to know what that salesperson's doing daily. How many new calls are you going to make? How many customer calls are you going to make? What are you going to accomplish this week? What are you going to accomplish next week? What did you accomplish last week? Who's your largest competitors in your area? Who's some of the target companies you're going to go after? What type of services are you going to provide to them? When are you going to do it? What's the time frame to accomplish the goals and objectives? What do you expect to get? Because accountability is all about results. But if you don't instill accountability, you don't get results. So if I can impart anything to you, if your salespeople are not performing, find the reason why. If it's because of you, correct the situation. If it's because you can't track your costs, correct the situation. But if your salespeople are not performing just because you are not making them directly responsible by giving them goals and objectives, then shame on you. Many times we go into to review sales and marketing programs, they don't have any goals, they don't have any objectives, they don't have any accountability, and they're overpaid for lack of results. So if you're going to improve your goals and objectives this year, look at what you haven't accomplished to date, find out the reasons why you haven't accomplished it to date, look at how much traffic is coming off your website, and then find somebody that can help you get to that next level. Until next time, thank you for attending the podcast.